Sebastian Fundora shocked everyone by defeating the unbeaten Tim, the WBO junior middleweight champion. Sebastian is now required by the World Boxing Organization to defend his junior middleweight titles against Terence Crawford in order to advance. Prior to the brutal match that took place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas last night, there were rumors that Tim would face Terence Crawford next. But according to some reports, Crawford's team was also entertaining a fight offer for Tim's team. Spence Jr. seized the chance to advance Crawford in their fight against the newly crowned 154-pound champion, since Tim was unable to raise his hand.
Hey, what's going on?
You said you would like to fight the winner of this fight. Well, here he is. What do you have to say?
Oh, it's time to get it on. He got the big dog now. Let's go.
Leonard Ellerbe participated in an interview with Fight Hype prior to last night's fight, during which the reporter asked him which of Crawford and Spence would face the winner of Tim and Fundora. Without a shred of hesitation, Ellerbe said,
kind of like a business position, like who would more likely get the fight between Earl and Crawford?
Who will get the fight?
Between the winner, I guess.
Errol Spence.
Okay.
And there's no knock on Crawford, but Errol Spence is he's family. He has a relationship with the PBC and has had a relationship a number of years, and not, if I'm not mistaken, well, one, let me start with Terence Crawford is a beast. But I think he's let it be known that he's a free agent and he's not with the PBC, so I mean, you know kind of how that goes. It's like,
while talk of a Tim rematch and an audacious challenge from Errol Spence dominated the immediate aftermath, Fundora's goals go farther, with hints of a tantalizing bout with Terence Crawford.
The WBO orders you to fight Crawford next, or you'll be stripped. Under any circumstances, will you vacate the WBO belt to fight Errol Spence?
Whatever they give me, Errol Spence is a great opportunity. I think it's a match made in heaven. But Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. I would like to fight him.
But since Spence had already defeated him earlier, Terence Crawford, who had also challenged the Tim Fundora winner, wasn't impressed by Spence showing up after the fight. Using Twitter, Bud poked fun at Spence, and he posted, "You lost, sir, gotta work your way back up." He then posted, "Errol Spence, sorry, buddy, you gotta wait in line, sir." Spence then responds to Crawford by saying that he doesn't stand in lines. "IDK champ, I don't do lines." Crawford didn't stop and made fun of Spence standing in a ring where he doesn't even belong. He posted, "Errol Spence, sure, you look like a linebacker, my guy." Abel Sanchez also believes that Spence doesn't deserve to fight Fundora right now.
It was Errol Spence that actually got into the ring and called out Fundora. That might actually be the fight that's next. Do you like that style, Errol Spence? I think Errol deserves to fight. He's got to fight a fight. First fight at 154. Why should he get the shot when the other guys have been struggling to get to that?
The undisputed welterweight champion Terence Crawford and the recently crowned junior middleweight champion Sebastian Fundora will have to negotiate, according to WBO President Paco Valcarcel. He wrote on X, "Great fight in Vegas. Tim show, again, that he is one of the best 154-pounders. Congrats to Tim and Sebastian Fundora. Tremendous World Boxing Org title, bout in which Fundora received judge's decision. Next week, WBO will order negotiations for Fundora versus Terence Crawford." Ellerbe is not afraid to discuss the business aspects of boxing. He draws attention to Spence's potential for a bigger fight with Sebastian Fundora, which is fueled by the lucrative PPV deals that come with having a PBC fighter. Crawford's obvious talent seems to be overshadowed by his corporate loyalty. T. King. Ellerbe said, "People don't understand the business. Errol lost a fight. He lost to the better man that night, who is a phenomenal fighter in Terence Crawford. Many people believe he's the best fighter in the world, but sometimes the performance is different from the business." Fundora will honor the Tim rematch agreement at some point, according to Tszyu, who made those comments in a statement on Monday that sought to clarify them. Tszyu explained, "We were all so eager to make this fight that many of our agreements were made verbally. There wasn't enough time, but I wish to make it clear that Team Fundora will honor the agreement. My word is always equal to a signed contract. Tim, your rematch is ready when you are." In order to maximize the money he can make, Samson Lukowicz, the promoter of Fundora and the man behind the recently crowned WBC and WBO world champ, says he wants Spence to be his next opponent.
I need to get the rematch, but not in this moment. Now I need to maximize the most money for the fighter. And I believe he deserves it.
Is that Spence?
That's correct.
Over Crawford? Like, does Spence more money? Or?
No, Crawford, we're not sell out 90,000 people in Dallas. I can tell you that much.
Is Crawford the better fighter? That
Oh, yes, but you know, like everybody waits. Like Benavidez wait. Why not Crawford? Let him wait one time or maybe twice, and then he goes.
Samson Lukowicz wants to set the record straight about the rumors surrounding a rematch with the once undefeated Tim. Lukowicz stated, "In our rush to get the gloves on, we shook hands more than we signed papers. Time was a thief, you see, but let it be known we're men of honor. A handshake with us is as good as gold. Tim, step up when you're ready. The ring is waiting. My word is always equal to a signed contract. Your rematch is ready when you are." According to Lukowicz, the ball's in Tim's court. The rematch is a go, either straight away or after a little warm-up bout, depending on what Tszyu fancies. Lukowicz added, "It all depends on Tim. If he doesn't take the rematch, we will take the WBO mandatory or Spence, whatever the WBO says. But the first priority is the rematch with Tim Tszyu in a brutal, bloody slugfest that had boxing fans roaring. Fundora clinched the titles in a war that'll be talked about for years. Despite one judge tipping his hat to Tszyu, Fundora snatched victory with his relentless jab and power punches, painting the ring red with determination and sheer will. Tim's manager, George Rose, says they have a rematch clause for their fight against Sebastian Fundora from last Saturday night. Glenn Jennings stated, "He knows there's a rematch clause. If we want to take it, we'll take it. I'd love for Tim to take it and win the belts right back. I'm happy for a rematch to happen next, and good luck to him. It definitely affects the schedule. Everything was sort of planned for this year. It doesn't mean it's for a bad reason. It just means there's another fight for Tim to consider." When Rose asks, Tzyu's loss affects his hopes for a fight against Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, he added, "It doesn't mean it's for a bad reason. It just means there's another fight for Tim to consider. Look, if an opportunity to fight Errol Spence or an opportunity to fight Terence Crawford or anyone else, if one of those pops up, it would be silly not to consider it." Greg Hackett also believes that Tim Tszyu deserves a rematch because he was the champion who gave Fundora an opportunity when he didn't even deserve it.
Should there be an immediate rematch? Because you know you got two guys that that are eyeing for that position.
Yeah, for the fact that Tim Tszyu was a belt holder, I think it should be a rematch because Fundora came in as a late replacement. Even though he was fighting on that card, he wasn't fighting for that position.
Yeah.
So to end up in that position, then to end up and win, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So I think it should be a rematch. And plus, because of the type of fight it was, it should be a rematch. You know what I mean? It was a great fight.
It remains uncertain whether Tszyu will return to the ring anytime soon due to a severe scalp injury he sustained. Recovery from such an injury could potentially extend over several months, delaying his comeback. Addressing the issue of the cut, George Rose commented,
He didn't lose anything tonight in his stocks. It just showed how much of a warrior Tim actually is, and how much he's ready to get in there and absolutely put everything on the line, because he's a bloke who couldn't see for 10 rounds, still managed to push it to a split decision. Is there a time?
Tim Bradley says PBC had Errol Spence Jr. in the ring for a reason following Sebastian Fundora's victory over WBO junior middleweight champion Tim Tszyu last Saturday night. Bradley stated, "Errol Spence, there was a reason why he was inside that ring. PBC is going to push for that fight, and that's probably going to be his Fundora best matchup. I think on paper it's the better matchup for him. I don't think Fundora beats Crawford. I think he gets knocked out by Terence Crawford, but I think the Errol Spence fight makes sense." The fight was bloody from the very start. Firstly, because Tszyu busted up Fundora, leaving him bleeding from his nose and mouth. Then, in round 2, Tszyu picked up a horror cut on the top of his head from an accidental Fundora elbow. Somewhat controversially, the doctor and referee allowed the fight to continue.
Oh,
Wow. Jim Tszyu is cut. At the top of his head is massive.
That was at the very end of the round, and I think it was an out.
Stitch Duran stresses corners' responsibility in stopping fights despite fighters' desire to continue and criticizes Cutman's actions.
I've been getting all kinds of messages and just finished doing an interview regarding the cut on Tszyu. Unfortunately, you know, that big vein that we have right there, if you pop it, you're not going to stop it. And he got the cut, it's the same vein. But it's important to have a good corner with you because they should have stopped it before the start of the 5th round. It would have been a no contest. They would have had a chance for a rematch and then protect him. You know, I felt sorry for him. I felt bad that all the techniques that were being used on him were not the proper techniques on how to handle a cut. So I wish Tszyu the best. Same thing happened the night before with this young girl from Costa Rica. She got a bad cut and the cut man didn't really know what he was doing. And unfortunately, both of them lost fights. So where would they have been if they would have had a proper cut man?
Tim Tszyu reflects on his devastating loss to Sebastian Fundora, expressing frustration over an eye injury that led to blood obscuring his vision during the fight.
In all honesty, I started landing the shots and then I don't want to make excuses, man, but yeah, this cut was quite frustrating. I remember as soon as it happened, it was like a fountain. It was just like, I was like, no way. It is what it is, man. He came back and I guess he got me by a point. That's all it took. In my head, yeah, I actually did. In honest opinion, I was like, man, there's no way they can continue this. I haven't really seen the replay yet, so I'm curious to see how big it actually was and how much, because there was a lot of blood.
Could you say anything?
Nothing. It was just blurry. It was just blurriness the whole time, the whole fight.
Jim Lampley believes that the cut affected everything, and the outcome of the match would have been different if not happened.
The fight seemed to change on that cut. How much do you gauge that really changed the tempo of the fight? What was
changed everything. Yeah. I mean, the whole event, the whole evening with regard to those two fighters is about the cut. And I don't know if I've ever seen exactly that circumstance. The place where the cut takes place is the highest concentration of veins in the body. At the top of your skull, more blood comes to meet in a crossroads on the top of your skull than anyone.
Jim also believes that the fight was not fair. As he stated, it's not fair. Life is unfair. That was not fair competition. That was unfair competition because one guy fouled the other with an elbow on the top of the head and cut him open in such a way that the blood flow was not going to be stopped. He also believes that Tszyu is a better boxer and the cut highly altered the result of the fight. Lampley stated, if the outcome is not altered by the cut, I don't think Fundora was ever in the position to win those rounds the way he did because Tszyu would have tactical command and mastery. He's a better boxer, and you know I'm not going to downgrade Fundora. He did what he had to do under the circumstances. All credit to him, but at the end of the day, the fight was about the cut. Jeff Mayweather also believed that the cut highly impacted the fight. He also said that he would have stopped the fight if he was in Tszyu's corner.
Got elbow, blood just started flowing freely, and Fundora started using his jab, and his jab started landing.
And you were thinking they should have, if you're Tszyu's corner, they should have got the fight called off early, right? So they could have got a no contest?
Yeah, I think that they should have had the fight stopped.
Keith Thurman was originally slated to face Tim Tszyu, but was replaced due to injury. He reacted to the fight by congratulating everyone. Keith especially commended the efforts Tim made during the fight and advised him to have a rematch with Fundora.
What's up, everybody? Just laid up, posted. What a night of boxing. Congratulations to all the winners from Honest Lawyer Laura, Isaac Cruz, the Pit Bull, to the Towering Inferno, and shout out to Tszyu. I know it was supposed to be me and you, my man, but you stepped in there and fought the replacement. Styles makes fights. It was a challenging, awkward style for you. That reach, and really just the bloodbath. that you had to endure. You showed grit. You showed how tough you were. We knew that you were going to be a world-class tough fighter. You showed all of that, my man. Hold your head up high. I'd push for the rematch if I was you. You were an undefeated champion. And we would like to see that fight without the blood in your face. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, fight fan. Another night of boxing.
Still, Tim's promoter, George Rose, praised him and his staff for fighting in the face of adversity. George stated, "I've got nothing but respect for Tim and his team for the amount of work they put in, because they were so prepared for that fight. A freak accident happens like that, with a waterfall of blood pouring into his eyes for 10 rounds, and he didn't hesitate to get up off his stool and go back to war with a guy who had the odds stacked in his favor." Not only Tim demonstrated courage in the ring, but he also handled his defeat like a champion. He congratulated Fundora on his victory and believes that his cut was simply a part of boxing. Tim stated, "I couldn't see, but all credit belongs to the man who won tonight. These things happen. The momentum was rolling and I was swinging hard, and then boom, you are blinded completely." Tim was also shocked by the amount of blood he lost during the fight, but his courage made him say that he'll fight till death. What are your thoughts on this humorous scenario involving Sebastian Fundora, Terrence Crawford, and Errol Spence Jr.? Who should next challenge the champion, in your opinion? Tell us in the comments section below.